saw that she got home safely, and most of the time she'd left feeling exhilarated. She had adored him. She worked on media and communications, but she was also an advisor, a problem solver. It was about a month ago that she'd first begun to feel uneasy. She'd wanted to call Meg then, but hadn't. Meg had been in the middle of her FBI training, so she'd gone home to Aunt Nancy's for a day, and then done a quick circuit of the things she and Meg had done as children and during their breaks at college. She'd followed what they called their trail, all places that were cheap and historic and wonderful. And she'd left a message in the hollow of the broken marker in the Harpers Ferry graveyard, as they'd done when they were kids. One day, who knew, she might go back to pick up the message, if her suspicions proved groundless. She was angry with herself. She wasn't naive. She just wholeheartedly believed in what she was doing. Then she'd begun to realize that there were little erosions in those beliefs, which had become big erosions. She thought about her friend again, wishing Meg had answered her phone. They'd been such dreamers. Meg had always focused on law enforcement, she on law and governance. Her love of history and the story of America had made her understand and value the importance of good government, and she still believed in the passion for justice and freedom that had forged her country. There had been painful lessons along the way, among them a bloody civil war, which had taught Americans some of those lessons. Longing to work in D.C., to fight for justice and equality herself, she'd found Congressman Ian Walker, who was a dreamer too, and an idealist. One who did, however, recognize that in a country where different people had different ideals, compromise was often necessary. What to do? Oh, Lord, what to do? Today she'd been shocked, absolutely shocked. Before that, she'd thought she had simply been imagining things. And then today, she was faced with all the talk about Walker's Gettysburg speech, what he should say, now that Congressman Hubbard was dead. She should have been more careful. She shouldn't have suggested that she was worried about the fact that such a decent man had so conveniently died. Leave. Go home. That made the most sense. Get the hell out as soon as possible. Go home to Richmond. Figure out the proper thing to do about the situation here. Decide what she really wanted to do with her future. It was crazy, she told herself angrily, to give up her passion because of this. But she hadn't given up. She just needed a change for a while. There was still goodness in the world, and lots more opportunity, and she needed to sample some of it. Then, one day, perhaps she'd come back, using her skill with words to champion the right man or woman again. Once she found safety, should she tell the world her suspicions? She had no proof. She'd be laughed out of court. No lawyer would take her on. She could always approach her media contacts. Throwing the hint of suspicion out there could change everything. There was also the possibility of being sued for slander, since she had no proof. There was Meg, but she had to reach Meg first. And the faster she walked, the more afraid she felt. Get out of Washington. It's a nest of vipers. She still believed in the dream, in men and women who couldn't be bought. But there were other things she could do. Take a job with a media company or PR firm in Richmond. What about Harpers Ferry? Tourism there grew every year. Then again, Harpers Ferry was small. Maybe Richmond would be best. And she loved Pennsylvania, especially Gettysburg. They'd gone there so often, she and Meg, and made interesting friends. No, not Gettysburg. Not after tonight. She needed somewhere far, far away from D.C. She did love the Blue Ridge Mountains. There were smaller towns out that way, towns that flourished because of tourism. She could find work with a tour company or something. Anything except this. Baltimore? Maybe she needed to go much farther afield than the states of Virginia, Maryland, or West Virginia. She looked around the shadowed streets, walking as swiftly as she could. She'd worked very late before now. Well, till 1 in the morning anyway. She hadn't been nervous those other nights, not at all. Congressman Walker was a good man. It just seemed now that he was a man who could be swayed.